Hello, everyone.
Awesome.
Welcome to the Multiplayer Podcast. This is where you go when you want the hard-pressing questions answered about unknown AAA and cult classic games. Will we like every game? One of us will. But we will bring you our honest, non-professional opinions. I'm your host, Todd, and as always, we're joined by our Spartan squad, Paul.
Yo, yo, yo.
And Josh.
Hi, soldiers. That was dumb.
I wanted to take a moment right here and just say thank you to everyone who's listening. We've received a lot of support, a lot of just like love from the community so far, and I just wanted to say thank you. And then if you're looking to help out the podcast, the biggest thing you could do at this point is just spread the word. Like, tell your friends about it, tell your mom about it, tell your kids about it, just and other people that are appropriate aged.
Everybody is appropriate aged when it comes to gaming.
Then tell everyone about it.
And we're family friendly, so you can legitimately tell your kids.
Yeah.
Actually, if you're telling your kids, you can just force your kids to listen. That's even better.
Please force all of your kids to
forceful
listen.
Listening. We highly encourage forceful listening.
Force them to subscribe. Yeah. Force them to download every episode.
Just make sure you monitor them when they're leaving the star review, because we don't need any accidental ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd wreck us. All right. But this week we are talking about Halo Master Chief Collection. In this episode, we are specifically talking about Halo Reach. But if you don't know, Halo Master Chief Collection is a collection of Halo 1, 2, 3, ODST, 4, and Reach. I mean, it's years of co-op campaign and online multiplayer. But before we talk about Halo, how's the lockdown, guys?
I know we're all in quarantine, right? I think we're about a week in. I know we've been a little stir crazy over here, but getting lots of gaming time in. What about you, Josh? How are you guys holding up?
I was going to say, if there's one benefit, it's that I can game to my heart's content without feeling guilty. You know, not that I didn't before, but there was a little bit of guilt associated with that. But now it's guilt-free, baby.
You know, I hope it's like a diet where the first week is the hardest and then it just gets easier after that.
Becomes like the new habit. Yeah, that'd be nice. Yeah. It's been a lot of games though. We bought Animal Crossing here in our household, so we've been playing a lot of that. I know Josh has been looking forward to Animal Crossing. He's been playing all week.
Dude, I've been tracking it. I've been just, really, really looking into that game and then realizing that I'm very smart for not purchasing it. Yeah.
You're actually a mod on the subreddit. I'm pretty sure.
Funny enough, Paul, your wife texted my wife and asked if we would get it so that we could play together. And then I was like, so my wife is not a whole lot of a gamer, but she does enjoy specific games from time to time. So she kind of posed this question to me, and I instantly just went, no.
Yeah. Well, I think philosophically, we just kind of look to different games when we're playing either solo or like to relax. Like, I like playing relaxing games, especially games like Stardew Valley. I know Josh gives me a hard time for that. I love games that include farming. I love playing Animal Crossing, where a lot of it is, running around picking up weeds and picking up fruit, picking up sticks and fishing. But it's very relaxing. It's a very charming game. Josh, on the other hand, I guess, likes to just like murder demons.
I was going to say, I feel like I'm much more. Am I much more bloodthirsty? Because I've been playing Doom Eternal, which I think is phenomenal. And it's just funny because Paul the other day was like, Josh, I looked at this game. It looks so boring and repetitive.
Yep.
And I've been playing the heck out of it, man. And I love it. It is so good. But yes, it's funny to see kind of our different styles of how we relax and what we want to play.
Yeah. What about you, Todd? What have you been playing lately?
I mean, honestly, because of the quarantine, I've just been switching through games where it'll be Call of Duty Warzone, Rocket League, Rayman, Overwatch, just like gaming ADD, just like, what do I feel like playing? Age of Empires. All right, let's play Age of Empires. Paul, me and you downloaded Broforce.
Yeah, we did.
Oh,
we played.
You guys are
several
playing
levels.
Broforce without me?
We've been playing Broforce. We've been liberating
terrorism. So many countries. They're liberated by us.
All the countries.
Yeah.
Guys.
Yeah.
I did not know about this secret Broforce relationship going on.
Yep, it's a bro relationship.
Our bromance has been playing Broforce, and we've been playing Age of Empires 2.
Yeah,
although with the quarantine, we the other night we tried playing everything online, and it seemed like everything was getting shut down. Overwatch had a queue. Age of Empires wouldn't let us log in. There were at least 12 of us worldwide that really wanted to play Age of Empires 2, and we couldn't even log in.
Well, it was funny. Like, we landed on Broforce, not because, like, you know, it's a great game, but because we couldn't play Overwatch, we couldn't play Warzone, we couldn't play Age of Empires, and then it was like, do you want to play Castle Crashers or Broforce?
Yep, we landed on Broforce. And Josh, you still haven't played it, right?
I would have played Broforce if I had been invited.
You know, you were invited. You just didn't log on that night. Well, maybe Josh would have been invited. But yeah, we've been playing that. And then also, I don't know if you guys noticed, but I was playing a lot of a single player game called Disco Elysium.
Oh, dude, have you been playing that?
Okay, so I'll be honest. I just saw good reviews. I watched no videos, and I bought it for $40. I loaded it up. I went AFK for about 3 hours. And then came back and started playing it. Hated it.
Oh, no.
I do not like it at all. I tried to get it refunded, and Steam said, no, you've played it more than 2 hours. I submitted the ticket to try to get it refunded. So I'm going to give it another try, but it's incredibly slow-paced. It's nothing but reading. So it's almost entirely text-based.
I have it on my wish list. It's getting phenomenal reviews, but that was one of the complaints that I saw, was that it's like, you better enjoy reading a lot. And if you do, the story is apparently amazing, and it's got some pretty neat like RPG aspects to it too. But I'm glad that you took the plunge.
If I liked reading, I'd play a book.
That's a choose your own adventure, Todd. That's what they're called.
I mean,
all right. No.
I'll have to. Okay,
go.
I'll have to
Paul,
give it another
anytime.
try and hit that transition.
No, I want to talk about the new character in Overwatch. I mean, it's only on the PTR, but what do you guys think? What do you think about them? Like, I'm gonna say it with the tone, releasing another DPS.
I love it because I love playing DPS, so I'm down. I think the character is awesome. Personally, I hopped on, I started playing. I guess it's a her. I mean, it seems feminine, so I think she's great. I love her. I love her kit, man. I think it's awesome. She does a ton of damage. I love the little sticky bombs that you can put on people that shoot out, and then the beam that does extra damage when they're under 50% health. There's a lot of cool stuff that they're doing with her. The ultimate being able to mimic a player on the other team and then get super fast ult charge while you're doing that, I think is incredible. So I am super down. I think she's going to wind up being one of my favorite characters.
Yeah. It's definitely like a very unique, interesting character.
I always play tanks and healers, so to be honest, I don't know how much I really care. My reaction was a little bit like Todd, where I was like, if you want to play DPS, you have how many characters to pick from? Like 18? Something like that?
Lot.
And there's like 6 healers and like 6 tanks. I don't know. I kind of wanted maybe another healer, but you know, I'm glad that you like it, Josh.
Yeah, I like the flexibility that she gives. You can fly, like she has like partial flying, which I thought was really neat too. So I like the mobility. I like the kit. I think it's really neat. I thought it was kind of surprising, to be honest with you, that they released a character. I didn't think they were going to release any more characters until Overwatch 2.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, Overwatch 2 is supposedly around the corner. But yeah, it's interesting. They just released another character. I'm interested, like, with her ult, you're going to be able to run triple tank for like a short amount of time, or triple healer. So that'll be cool. That'll be interesting. Yeah, I think it's going to shake things up a lot.
Yeah. I think it's easier to balance around another DPS. Like, you add a tank or a healer to the game. Like, I get that, Paul, but it's one of those things where if you're adding tanks and you're adding healers, I think they can be so monumental to how things change. Like, look what happened to Overwatch when Brigitte came out. Goats happened. I mean, I just think it's a lot harder with a DPS. You don't have to quite balance as much. It's just, as long as they're not OP to where they can kill people so fast, then it's not that hard to throw one in.
But on the other side, Baptiste was perfect. Like, Baptiste came in. People didn't really pick him at first because they didn't know what he could do. And now he's like a really solid healer.
Yeah, they actually had to nerf him because people were figuring it out. It's kind of like when Ana came out. It's just, nobody played Ana. They're like, oh, this is terrible. And then all of a sudden people got really good with her and they had to nerf her because they're like, ooh, okay. I think there's just maybe a higher learning curve with the healers and the tanks.
Yeah. So here's the review that no one asked for. Each week we review one game, and this week we're talking about Halo. Let me read a quick review from the publishers, and then we'll kick off this convo. From 343. Now optimized for PC, experience the historic story of Noble Team, a group of Spartans who, throughout great sacrifice and courage, saved countless lives in the face of impossible odds. Planet Reach is humanity's last line of defense between the encroaching Covenant and their ultimate goal, the destruction of Earth. Ooh. If it fails, humanity will be pushed to the brink of destruction. Yikes.
Yeah, that sounds bad.
Yeah.
Does any of that storyline really matter? I mean, when we're all playing Halo Reach, you're just getting on to play multiplayer, right?
I mean, I always beat... All right, granted... Not recently, but I beat every Halo campaign. Like that, like especially 1, 2, and 3. Like, the campaign was just as big as multiplayer.
I think, I mean, if you're going historical, then the campaigns were amazing. Like, honestly, like that was the thing. The campaigns in Halo were epic. The music, the endings. I mean, a lot of the kind of real-time events, the driving, stuff like that was incredible. Nowadays, campaign, not so much.
But what do you mean by that?
I just mean...
It's aged like milk, not wine.
Yeah, it's aged like buttermilk.
Come on.
All right. This is where poor Todd starts getting it.
All right.
So
we played Halo Reach, and Halo Reach wasn't known for its campaign. If we would have gone back and played Combat Evolved, it would have been way better.
I won't disagree with that when you're comparing the two. But if you're comparing Halo Combat Evolved from... When did that game come out? That was original Xbox. I don't even know what year that was.
A long time ago. And so if you're comparing that to any campaign nowadays, I think it falls way flat. What campaign? What game has what multiplayer game has a great...
Titanfall 2. That's an awesome campaign. Oh man, there's a million of them.
It came out in 2001.
2001.
I don't know. I had a lot of fun with this game. The multiplayer, like, all the maps are the same. Like, there's no learning curve for getting into this game because that learning curve I figured out when I was in middle school.
I think there's a huge learning curve. Like, I remember when we first started playing the multiplayer, I felt like an idiot. Like, I could not remember how to play Halo at all with the shields and how strong the melee is. And it's, if you can find the sniper or the rocket launcher or the sword, like, that's what makes all the difference for your kill streaks and your score and all that stuff. Like, I thought I couldn't remember how to play for a while.
See, but I'd rather have that than like loading in with a kit with like a rocket launcher and a sniper already on you. Like there's no fun in that. But when everyone's racing to the same part of the map to get the sniper, like that's fun to me because there's only one sniper. Like resources are limited. Like we just played Warzone, whatever, like where you get money.
Plunder.
And everyone, Plunder. Everyone has snipers. Everyone has rocket launchers.
I know.
And I was just getting sniped left and right. But in Halo, if you have the sniper, there's only one other sniper rifle out there rather than like 10.
Yeah, it was interesting hopping back into Halo Reach, having not played in so long. It did immediately remind me, oh, that's right, you have to learn the maps, you have to learn where the weapons spawn, and it's definitely a race to that. And there's also an element of camping those areas. So it's not uncommon for someone to get a sniper and they kind of know where to camp and pick people off. But it kind of took me right back to that place. I kind of forgot that was a big element of Halo.
Yeah. All right. I have a question for you guys. Like, would you guys play the new Halo that's going to come out if it came out on PC?
The new Halo?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, of course. I loved Halo back in the day.
Yes, I'm not trying to slander the Halo franchise by any means whatsoever. I mean, I have some super fond memories of playing Halo. Halo is the reason I bought an Xbox.
Yeah,
like plain and simple.
Here.
That game was, you wanted to play Halo so bad that you were willing to go out and buy the console because it was exclusive to that console. And I mean, that got me in.
That's the same thing for me, no joke. I owned a PlayStation 2 and then I went out and bought an Xbox because I wanted to play Halo, and my friends all played Halo, and I like played it at one of their houses. And then after that, I was like, Mom, Dad, for Christmas this year, I want an Xbox and I want Halo.
And then they told you to get a job.
Yep. And 23 years later, I'm playing.
Finally is playing Halo.
Did you guys ever do any LAN parties with Xboxes back like with the original Halo games?
Absolutely. Like a router in the middle and then 4 Xboxes hooked up to it, all in different rooms, cables going everywhere, like TVs on coffee tables. It was awesome. And that's when TVs were small and heavy.
Oh, yeah. I remember having so much fun, having so many friends come over, multiple Xboxes. You'd hook them all up through the Switch, and we would assign team captains and just pick who you wanted on your team.
Oh, like schoolyard pick?
Oh, yeah, like schoolyard basketball, and it was such a blast. I mean, some of my favorite memories were doing that. I remember we normally would only have 1 or 2 Xboxes, but on a couple of occasions, I remember spreading out to a third, having maybe 10 or 11 people play at once. I mean, I'll never forget. I mean, it was just always Blood Gulch was the map. Like, that's burned into my memory. We would play a lot of Halo 1, just play that one map. It was a lot of sniping, and yeah, great memories of Halo. But trying to revisit something like Halo Reach now, it's just that modern multiplayer games are just so much better, and they're more balanced. They're a lot more fun. I did struggle trying to go back and play Halo Reach at this point.
Yeah, that's the catch with these is the fond memories of Halo 19. I didn't realize it was 19 years ago, man. 19 years ago, the multiplayer was unbelievable. The campaigns were unbelievable. I still, when you hear the music to that game, it's just incredible, man. It definitely triggers something in my brain somewhere that's just makes me feel good. And then,
yeah, I mean, literally, as soon as you said that, everyone just went dun, 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 dun.
I like the opening.
That's the first thing I thought of.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So those two, it's those two. But see, Paul, like that's funny because Paul thought about the chanting, and Todd was all into the beat and the music part. Yeah, it's just like I love the memories from Halo, and that's why when Master Chief Collection was announced, all of us were super hyped. I mean, there wasn't a one of us that was like, "Man, I can't wait for this game to come out." And then it came out, and everybody, all of our friends, all of us, we hopped in. I remember, like I said, the learning curve was super hard at first. I was like bottom of the leaderboard. I was like, "Man, what's going on? I'm not this bad at shooters." I forgot all about like armor lock and stuff like that. Like I was having a hard time. And then it was like, okay, it slowly started to tick. And then we played hardcore for a week, right? I don't know, maybe a little bit longer, a week. And then it was like, yeah, I'm ready to go play something else.
See, all right. So for me, it feels slower. Like one of your abilities can be sprint, but if you don't have sprint on or like enabled as your ability, walking is just so slow. Like, and I'll give it to you guys, compared to Overwatch, compared to Apex, compared to any other modern shooter, it feels slow. The time to kill is a while, like twice as long as some of these other games. But like, I don't know, whenever we had 8 people on at one point and we were playing an objective where we were trying to plant a bomb, and I thought it was hilarious. We're like, all right, let's send the whole team up the right and start engaging on the right. And then the bomb guy and a little guard for the bomb guy snuck around the left. And that was just so funny because they were literally sneaking around the edge of the map to get all the way to the back. While on the right-hand side, we're just fighting and dying and coming back and dying and like rocket launchers and warthogs and all that. And then they planted the bomb, and then the other team lost it because they didn't know what happened.
Yeah, we did run a pretty good football play on that. It was, I mean, that's fun. One of the things that it does have going for it is the fact that you can play a lot of people. I mean, 8-player. We did big team battle, or the heavies. That was a lot of fun. Like that was one of my favorite matches that we had with all the big tanks and the rail guns and stuff like that. Was a lot of fun.
I mean, it was so goofy. And like, that's something we're coming up against right now is we're playing Warzone and it's like 3 players. Like we play Rocket League, 3 players. Like Halo can be 2 players, 4 players, 8 players. If you have more than 8, then just do a custom game mode. Like, I don't know. Like for me, it's something familiar. It's something that's easy to go back to. It's not terribly different than like other modern games. It does feel dated, at least Reach did, but you know, it's always a good option.
Do you know how like when you live life and you get used to certain things, like, I don't know,
indoor plumbing,
you know, the internet and indoor plumbing and cell phones, and then it's like you go camping and you don't have any of that stuff. That's what Halo feels like to me now.
That's a pretty good analogy.
I mean, okay, I legit, if you remember, Todd, I legit asked you, I said, how do I aim down sights? Because remember, I was trying to right click and it kept zooming in, and then I would try to shoot the guy and it would zoom out, and I thought like my keys were messed up or something. And then you're like, it's Halo, Josh. There's not aim down sights.
Well,
and I just
it depends on the gun.
What the heck? You know, like, how does this not have aim down sights? Like, how does it not have a ping system and all this stuff that it's like you get used to and you really enjoy, and then you go back and you don't have that. It's like getting rid of my cell phone and going back to having a pager.
Yeah.
And then it's like, I don't like this. Pagers at the time were great. They were super cool. You could text your friends and be like, 911, I need you to call me back right away. You know, and all the cool text.
A 5G pager doesn't do anything.
Well, right. Yes, exactly. So that's honestly how I feel about Halo.
Yeah, I get that. Like we said it before, but like when Apex did the ping system, we were like playing Overwatch or playing other games, and we're like, why doesn't this have a ping system? It's so useful. Like every game needs a ping system. There's definitely probably 2 or 3 things like that in Halo that modern games came up with that Halo doesn't have. Like aim down sights, like a ping system, like sprinting, where you're like, oh, like this feels old because it doesn't have that. And every modern first-person shooter has that now.
Yeah, and in some ways it's unfair, obviously, to try to compare Halo Reach to modern day games. And Halo historically was unquestionably the best multiplayer shooter that you could play with your friends. I mean, let's not forget that Halo brought about Red versus Blue. Do you guys remember that series?
I do remember that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I mean, it was so much fun watching these red versus blue clips online. Later, I think it even became a TV show. People would buy
on
shirts.
Netflix.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, I remember seeing it on Netflix. And it's just so hard to go back to any game that's that old. So in that sense, it's a little unfair. I understand the nostalgia of playing Halo, but you know, a lot of these matches you play in Halo Reach, you just drop in with these DMRs where you can't zoom in. Like Todd mentioned, the time to kill is a little ridiculous. And I just found myself very quickly, I think it was honestly probably after the first half hour, that it just kind of hit me like, oh, I'm just not going to have a whole lot of fun with this. Although I will say I had fun with other modes. Like, do one of you guys want to talk a little bit about Griffball?
Oh, that's all you, Todd. I know how much you love Griffball.
I mean, Griffball. All right, we're in a time with no sports. Soccer's not on TV. Football's not on TV. Basketball's not on TV. But do you know what sport is still around?
The National Griffball League.
The NGA. So Griffball is like as basic of a sport as you can get. There's a ball and you try and put it on the other person's. It's like a pet. It's a bomb planting zone. So you try and get the bomb and put it on the enemy's zone without dying, and then they're trying to do the same thing with the same bomb. And everyone has hammers and everyone has swords, and you run plays. Like you literally just try and run it up the right-hand side, have your defenders like get a couple kills, and like hopefully you can plan it. But then like there's like some strategies, and you can do a far flank. You can like try and run it up the center. Like it's a sport in every sense of the word.
And you're kind of leaving out one detail that I think is funny is how ridiculous Griffball looks, because those hammers that you mentioned are like 7 feet long. They are enormous hammers. So you just have 8 people running around trying to smash each other with massive hammers while running bombs to the other side.
Oh, and the bodies are ragdoll and go flying.
Oh, yeah. They go flying through the air. But I did appreciate the fact that there are so many different game modes, and they're not all just 2 versus 2, 4 versus 4. Like there's actually completely different modes like Griffball that do keep it a little bit interesting.
And like something I really, really miss about Halo that we never really got around to is like I have very fond memories of spending 4 to 8 hours a day just jumping outside of the maps, like figuring out a way where you can like get on a ledge, then you can like jump on people's heads and like swing the sword, and then like get to a crack where you can crouch and then like charge at someone, and then you'll like glitch outside of the map, and then you can run to the edge, and it's just like where they stopped providing background. But it was so much fun figuring out this like very intricate puzzle.
Well, you're really playing into your stereotype of loving jump puzzles.
Because
Josh and I always joke that if you want Todd to play a game, just tell him that there are jump puzzles. He will unquestionably buy it. So I'm not
that's
shocked
not
to hear
wrong.
that. No, it's not wrong.
I do love jump puzzles. Maybe that's where it started.
Yeah, I didn't even know there was stuff like that in Halo. I really couldn't care less, to be honest.
Wow. You know, one of the things that works in Halo is all the different vehicles. That is one thing where, you know, I think they got it right. And it's probably one of my favorite points still, is that you've got flying vehicles, you've got, you know, driving vehicles, you've got giant tanks, artillery, you know, all these different things, helicopters and transports and stuff like that. And so I think that on the larger maps adds a lot to it, that you still don't see to this day in a lot of big multiplayer games, with the exception of maybe Battlefield series. But, you know, hopping into a Banshee and flying around and just wrecking people until somebody finally shoots you down, that's a lot of fun. That's a good feeling. But those are only in certain game modes. And to me, those are the game modes that I enjoy a heck of a lot more. Like, I think where they went wrong is, like you mentioned earlier, Paul, like the DMR only fights they just get so boring. It is literally
they
just
updated
zoom
that.
in. Yeah, I know they did, but initially it was just zoom in, click, 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 and then finally somebody's shields go down, and then click, click, click. Okay, now they're dead. That kind of thing, and that just got really mundane really quick. So,
which that's something that they updated, and it's kind of funny. They made that a type of game mode. So when you're playing Slayer or Objective or whatever, you can have like a precision fire game mode where it's DMRs and everyone can zoom in and everyone can shoot from long distances, or standard where everyone has a battle rifle and like it's just a machine gun that they can barely fire in front of them because, like you said earlier, you can't aim down sights.
Yeah, I'll tell you this. The one thing that Halo pioneered that every single multiplayer shooter should have is sticky grenades. There is nothing like sticking somebody with a grenade in Halo. Like, honestly, there isn't. You throw that thing and you see it glowing stuck to the side of their head, and it's just like, man, that feels good. Every single shooter should have sticky grenades.
See, I used to have like a group of friends back in the day where we would do 4v4 just sticky grenades.
Yeah, like that sounds
no
fun.
Weapons on the map, just sticky grenades, and run around and just toss all of them. And
because
it was,
if you got stuck, you knew like that, because it had like
that 1
like a
second.
3. Yeah, like you're like, oh no, and it's glowing, and you're just like, I'm about to die.
That's awesome. They're going to die. They know they're going to die, and that feels great when you land that grenade.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. What's one thing with this game that you guys think 343 could have done better?
With the remake in particular?
Yeah, with the remake. Like, all of us are very fond of the old games, but this remake, I'll say it, falls a little short. Like, what would you guys do to make it feel better?
It's really tough, man, because there's not a whole lot you can change without changing the feeling of the initial game, and you can't do that, So I would say, to me, guns feel a little underwhelming still. Like, I don't know if maybe it's just they could have improved like the sound effects or the feeling. You know how like every game has like a feeling for a gun? Like, maybe they could have done that. I don't want to sound like a graphics snob, but like graphics, they still feel pretty dated, and I know they updated them, but if they came out and this game looked incredible, that probably would have helped a little bit. Right. To feel like, hey, this is, a remake from a game from 19 years ago. Look how amazing it looks right now. The gameplay is still dated, but I think maybe that would have given a little bit more wow factor. I don't know, Paul. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the first thing that I thought were graphics. I mean, the game looks and feels so old. And even though I don't think that would really fix the issue, if it was a lot prettier, then I'd probably be a little more willing to give it a longer first chance. I felt like the first impression was just so bad. The fact that it was DMR only, it didn't look great. It played fine. Like, we never had any lag, so I never had any performance issues in that regard. But I think they just didn't do much to make the game feel new. It just felt so old.
I think for me, they started with the wrong game. They should not have done Reach first.
Yeah, that still baffles me, man.
It's a curious pick.
Yeah, I mean, it was like the newest without going into 4. And I think that was like kind of their decision. But then, like, looking at it, it's too old to feel new, and it's too new to feel old. So like, it's caught in this like puberty teenager stage,
awkward
where
stage.
Like it has a squeaky voice and the graphics aren't as good. I think if they would have started with Combat Evolved, or even like 2 or 3, like 2 is where like online multiplayer like bloomed. Like that is where online multiplayer started, was Halo 2. And if they would have started with that, like, those are all the maps people remember. Those, like, at least for me. But then they started with like this newer one that, like, that's the first time they introduced abilities, but then like the abilities weren't really figured out yet until 4. And it's like, it's just an awkward step. It's an awkward game to start on. And I think like you feel it when you play it.
Yeah, I don't know if it was a business decision. I mean, if they started with Halo 3 or Halo 4 and then they released some like Reach, would anybody really care at that point? Like, other than your diehard Halo fans? Like, I would.
Well, it's people, the difference between, like, with this game, you can buy just one of the games for $10 or all 5 for $40. So I think, like, people would buy 1, 2, 3 and then just not buy the rest. Maybe they would buy 4. But then, like, you know, the only people who would have Reach would mainly be the people who buy all of them.
That's what I mean. I don't think people would have bought one of the lesser games if they had released one of the better ones first. But here's the catch, right? Because now I'm so disenchanted with Reach, you know, like, Paul, are you willing to spend $10 to try out, you know, Halo 3 or Halo 4, knowing that it's a much better experience and a better game? Or is it kind of like, yeah, I've already done that, I don't really care?
Yeah, I kind of feel like been there, done that. I'm more than willing. I'm sorry, Todd. I know that kind of crushes some of your dreams. I am more than willing to dish out full price for a brand new Halo game. But looking back at these older entries, I think Halo Reach sullied it enough for me that I'm probably not going to pay any more, even if it's only $10.
I don't disagree. Like, honestly, it's maybe. I think I'd let somebody else. I think I'll let Todd. Well, Todd can't be trusted.
I can't. I can't. Tell me about it.
No, I'm just saying,
irrational love of
yeah. Halo. I mean, if people come out and they say, "Man, Halo 3 is amazing. Like, it's everything I wanted this to be. It's all of the fun and, you know, all the maps that we remember, and the you know, the multiplayer is great and all that," then yeah, maybe I'd dive back in. But I would need somebody to pull me in at that point.
Well, we have my unbiased opinion and then your guys' very biased opinions. But Paul, can you tell us how the community feels about this game?
So taking a look at Steam, one of the reviews that I grabbed here was a positive review where the person wrote, "First Reach match on PC. Someone teabagged me after killed me. I am back." Tear smiley face. Is this where teabagging started? Was it?
I think so. I think so. It was.
Yes. And that's awesome. Like, I still see that in Overwatch and Warzone and all these other modern games, and it's just hilarious.
I take back what I said. I forget sticky grenades. Teabagging is what Halo has given to the world.
The gift that keeps giving.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the fact that for this guy, that was the nostalgia, was, you know, being teabagged after getting killed. I thought that was funny. Another review that I read here, I'm actually going to cut this shorter than what they actually wrote, but it did make me chuckle. They wrote this review: gained the lead, lost the lead, tied the leader, gained the lead, lost the leader, tied the leader, game over. What
game
is
over?
Does this game really need to announce every single lead change? Because it really does do that in this game.
The announcer was a hot new thing, though. You know,
double kill.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Kill.
When you were on a kill streak, or what was it? Overkill? Was that the really big one? Overkill. Yeah. Like, that was, dude, you felt good with that. You know, like, you were like, oh, I'm tearing it up.
Oh, I completely agree. But the lead changes,
yeah, I know,
they're so common during a game.
Yeah, it's funny whenever it's a close game, like, that's when you're super intense into it, and that's when the lead's changing back and forth, and you're like, oh my goodness, like, I don't know, like, it gets annoying and you're super intense, but you know, that's where it's age. That's the gray hair in this game. You know,
I like the announcer. Honestly, you don't have an announcer in a lot of games, so I am still a fan of the announcer. Like, that's one thing I like about Rocket League. You know, Todd, like, when you make a great save, the announcer says, like,
gain the lead.
To me, the announcer is like the laughing studio audience in old sitcoms. Like, it just feels outdated. Yeah. It's so distracting. It's so distracting.
Sitcoms. I don't know. I like it. I'm a fan.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm going to start announcing everything in our games, guys.
Oh, please don't.
Yes.
I've already documented my hatred of Bangalore and Apex narrating what every item in the game does. All right. And then the last review that I grabbed here is someone, they posted complete ripoff of Destiny, not recommended.
Nice.
Oh, man.
Yeah. I mean, they're not wrong.
I mean, Destiny really did rip off Halo pretty much entirely.
Well, they updated Halo. Like, they took Halo and then they're like, all right, let's make it modern and let's make it open world. And Destiny's great.
It's kind of like what Walking Simulator did to Death Stranding.
Yeah.
Is that comparable? Halo Reach is the Walking Simulator in this analogy. All right, so we always like to guess what percentage of all the reviews on Steam are positive. So taking a look here at Halo Reach, I jotted down my guess. My guess is 70% are positive. I think that Halo Reach has a very strong, loyal core, but I know this game released with issues. I know people did not love the DMRs. I know that there were some audio issues that I didn't experience, but other people did. My guess is 70%. What do you guys think?
You know, people are reviewing nostalgia. They're not reviewing the actual game. Like, they're going back and you know, I'm just gonna say 90.
Whew.
It's a pretty high guess.
Todd really loves this game.
I do. I mean, it's Halo.
I'm gonna split it. You said 70, right, Paul?
Yep.
90 for Todd. I'm gonna say 80. Let's go right. Split it right down the middle.
Yeah, Josh is super close. It's at 77%, which is really interesting because
that's high, man.
77. That's really not that high for Steam, though.
I mean, I feel like it's high for this remake.
But this was like up in the 90s, like a month or two ago. I remember when we were playing it still, taking a look and seeing how high the average scores were. It's actually scaling down quite a bit. If you look on Steam, the latest reviews are actually mixed. So I think it got initially a whole lot of positive reviews. It's kind of getting pulled down as of late.
It's the repetition. I think people are realizing that the nostalgia only lasts so long.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can only play off that nostalgia we only played off of it for a week. And then
honestly, I would have been fine if it were one day.
Oh, boo.
Oh,
and that's not hyperbole.
I'm not against you here on this one, Paul.
Warzone is a free game. You're asking me to pay money to play Halo Reach. It better be darn good to compete with some of these newer games that are free. Warzone, Apex, it is hard to compete with those games.
Yeah,
it's very true.
All right, so who won? Josh?
I won again.
Josh won. Yeah.
Is this 4?
Josh is on a roll.
As well I should be.
Yeah.
All right, Josh.
The fans need a champion, and I mean, I can't help, I don't want to disappoint.
All right, transition us to our next segment.
Oh, so smooth. It's time for Make Love, Marry, or Murder, where we tell you our feelings about this game.
Hopefully not so creepy.
That really did come across as. I hope
let me tell you my sweet feelings.
Can we put a disclaimer in the front of that? If you're Josh's wife, please turn this off now.
All right, guys. Make love, marry, or murder. Moida. All right, Paul. Just get it out of the way.
Yeah, murder. Gotta murder Halo. I remember when I was thinking, what kind of analogy would I use with Halo? And this is like your ex-spouse that you had back in the day. Maybe you meet up with them again later and you only remember the good times and you think, hey, let's give this another shot. And you kind of talk yourself into it. And then you realize it's just a huge mistake. and you just have to move on. You cannot go back. It's not worth it. Gotta murder Halo Reach. Sorry, Todd.
Josh.
All right, Todd, I might surprise you on this, even though I've been bashing Halo a lot.
Yeah.
All right. I know it does have some very redeeming factors. Sticky grenades, the announcer, teabagging. I mean, there's a lot to be said there. But then the rest of it just doesn't hold up. So I'm going to moid it.
Oh.
Sorry, Todd. Yeah, to use Paul's analogy, it's like the high school girlfriend that you thought was great when you were in high school, and then you grew up and realized it's like, what was I thinking? Like, what was I thinking? It's just, I don't want to take away anything from the historical Halo moments. I mean, we were all there. We all understand how amazing this game was back in the day, but as a remake and as a re-release, it falls flat, man. I think it's terrible.
All right.
I think it's pretty terrible too.
Yeah.
Okay, let me paint you a different picture.
You better have a good paintbrush, buddy.
Of marriage.
What?
Y'all. All right.
God.
You know, 19 years ago, you fell in love with, some girl in your middle school class. And, you grew up with them through high school, saw them occasionally in college. You haven't seen them in a while. But then you go back to a high school reunion and you're like, you know what? I need to marry her. Because she's just as awesome as I remember. Blink-182, Sum 41, and Halo. All good choices that still hold up.
I'd argue two of those three things still hold up, but it ain't Halo.
Oh. All right. So we have not just you guys are wrong. All right, is it worth the price?
No.
A single. I'm not through the bit.
Sorry. Wait, let him finish, Paul. Let him finish. Go ahead.
All right.
I will pay for everyone's game. No, a single remake of the game is $9.99, or for all 5, you can get it for $39.99.
No.
That's fair. I'll give you guys that. Get it on sale. Buy all of them.
Just don't
play
get
through
it
the
at all.
campaigns.
Don't get it at all. Just play Warzone or Apex.
Save your money. Go buy and hoard some more toilet paper.
Yes.
This segment is not going as planned. All right, guys. I'm scared.
Yeah.
I'm afraid.
This segment's not going to go.
Brace for impact, Todd.
Brace for impact. We're crash landing. It's time for the leaderboard. Let's see where this game stacks up. All right. I'm just going to do the bottom 5 on here.
Yeah. Good call.
Second is Rocket League. Third, Rust. 4, RimWorld. 5, GTFO. And 6, Sea of Thieves. Josh.
All right. This is not hard for me. Do we have a flushing sound?
We should.
Do we? I'm putting it below Sea of Thieves, man.
Below 7?
Yes, I'm putting it 7.
On.
Yes, no.
I
would rather play Sea of Thieves.
Look. There's way more game modes. There's a campaign.
Yeah.
It's not nearly as repetitive.
Yeah. Oh, it's repetitive. All right.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Does Sea of Thieves have Griffball? I think not. Does Sea of Thieves have sticky grenades? I think
that's true, but they do have cannonballs. I mean, I'm putting it 7, man. This game, I don't enjoy it at all.
Paul, don't.
I'm not far off from Josh.
Okay,
I would put it above Sea of Thieves.
Thank you.
But below GTFO. I think on our list right now, I'd put it second to last.
All right. See,
I'm very curious to hear where you would put it, Todd.
I put it after Rust. I'd put it 4.
You'd put it 4.
So Apex, Rocket League, Rust, Halo. Above RimWorld, above GTFO, above Sea of Thieves.
I just don't see how you could put this game above GTFO.
Yeah,
any of the ones above it. There's no way.
There's just so much for the same price as GTFO. All right, granted, all right. So I think there's something to be said with all the Halo games haven't been released. It's been Reach, and then recently they released Combat Evolved. but I'm saying there's so much content. There's so many different multiplayer game modes. There's so much to do. And like GTFO, it's like you have very strict levels that you have to follow. Do you think it's going to be
vastly different? Do you think Halo 2, 3, and 4 are going to be any different?
There's dual wielding. In Reach, there wasn't dual wielding.
I mean, dual wielding's pretty cool. But
yeah, Needlers.
I still just think...
They were OP.
I still think even if I bought another Halo, I don't think I'd play it for more than 3 or 4 days.
Disagree.
Like, honestly, I mean, I know you do. Wrong. I feel bad for Todd on this one because we all know how much he loves Halo, and I feel
I have other friends that play Halo.
All right, that's a good thing because Paul and I will be playing.
At least you're honest. All right, guys. Yeah. All right, let's put it above GTFO. Let's put it 5.
No way.
No.
Paul.
I ranked it below and Paul ranked it below. So no matter, you can say you wanted number 1 and it's still going to be below.
Let's put it 6.
Hey, it's still top 10, Todd.
Still top 10.
Top 10. Yeah.
Above Sea of Thieves, below GTFO.
Until we do like 4 more episodes. And then,
yeah. You know. This one's sinking like a brick, guys.
I'm just going to start. I'm going to have us just review awful games.
I was like just going to make that joke.
Just to boost it up so it always stays top 10. All right. Well,
sorry.
That wraps up the leaderboard segment for our show today. If you want to review all of our rankings, you can find them at our site at multiplayerpodcast.com. It was fun hanging out this week and talking over Halo. If you're interested in more multiplayer podcast content, don't forget to subscribe to the Multiplayer Gaming Podcast on your podcasting app for new episodes. If you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts and you want to help the podcast, please leave us a 5-star review. It really does mean a lot, and it really helps the show.
Yeah, a lot.
We're also on Twitter and Instagram. Just search for Multiplayer Podcast. Next week, we're going to take a look at Warzone. Paul, what's Warzone about?
Warzone is a newly released battle royale that has some very cool innovations. It's such an overcrowded genre right now. I can't wait to talk about it next week. But basically, you drop in with 150 people and you battle until there's only one team left. They're the winners. It's in the Call of Duty franchise, and I can't wait to talk about it next week.
It's a real multiplayer shooter.
Yeah.
It's good. It's actually fun.
I'm ending the show now.
See you, everybody.
Happy quarantine.
Game over.
You've lost the lead.
Gained the lead.
Todd's lost the lead.